Good morning. Okay, good morning, everybody. I have a question. Who is Ariana? That just went away. That's weird. Okay, hold on. I'm going to pause my. Okay, so good morning. All right, so obviously, see, I told you as soon as I started, somebody would come in the room. Where did they go? Huh, that's weird. Let me make sure. There's Paige. That was weird that she didn't pop up again. Okay, so obviously we are all fully remote for the next week and a half, right? So that means that it's really important that you come to not just my Zoom meets, but your Zoom meets for all of your classes. If they are there, you should be going to them. Also, I don't know if you had an opportunity to read what I posted in Classroom Stream this morning, but I was just saying, remember to join your meets, blah, 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 blah. And then if you look here, it says also I'll be having a Zoom meet during 8th period around 1 p.m. starting tomorrow, Friday. Okay. I will add that link tomorrow. If you need extra help or just have a question, that would be the time to see me. And then I put a quote in there that you can read on your own time. It also, the best way other than Zoom meets to see me or to get hold of me is to email me. Okay. I know a lot of you post comments like on the document or something. If you have a question, matter of fact, I had a comment from a parent this morning on one of the assignments with a question. And I don't always see those because I don't have things set up, because otherwise my phone would be ringing all the time. Okay. So I don't always see those. So it's best to use email to contact me if you need me. Okay. That's the best way. And I check my email like a bazillion times a day. All right. So with that said, let's take a look at the bulletin board today. Let me move your little faces out of my way. Ha ha ha. Okay. So we are going to turn in your ending punctuation completed work, Zoom your lesson, attend to grammar lessons on commas, and complete the worksheet. I want to talk about that assignment that I gave yesterday, because I'm getting a lot of kids. As a matter of fact, that's what the parent question was to me about. When you do your ending punctuation, whoops, wrong one, Miss Jost. When you do your ending punctuation assignment, I changed, I keep pulling up the wrong one. I actually changed the assignment a little bit. I added something to it. Can anybody out there in Zoom land tell me what I added? I added a direction. What was the direction that I added to that assignment yesterday?
Put a letter next to it.
Yes, thank you, Haley. So you were supposed to not only give me the punctuation mark, but you were supposed to give me the letter, whether it was declarative, interrogative, or exclamatory. So lots of you, I have to keep sending things back. Let me just pull up one that's blank here. Okay. So I have to keep sending it back and saying, please do both. Okay. So you're supposed to give me the punctuation mark and indicate D, I, or E. That was an added direction that I gave you. It's worth 50% of the points. Okay. So then I have kids where I say, okay, you did the punctuation mark. Now give me the D, I, or E along with it. And they redo it and they erase the punctuation mark and they only give me the letters. You have to do both. So here's the thing. If you miss a Zoom lesson, because sometimes teachers give you verbal directions in addition to what's on the page, right? So if you miss a Zoom lesson, then I always post the video lessons for you so that you can make sure that you understand what you're doing. Okay. Because, I know it's a pain in the neck to go back and forth, but if you followed the directions in the first place. Like there's a couple people in the Zoom that I just this morning sent back your work because you either did one or the other. Okay. So with that, anybody have any questions about that? Okay, so what I need you to do is I need you to open up your DOL document, the daily oral language document, days 1 through 5. I need you to split your screen so you have that up, and then you have my screen in front of you. So you need to open that up, and I will go and find mine as well. So yesterday we did ending punctuation. Today we're going to work on commas, and we're actually going to do a couple of days worth. Of the DOL lessons, okay? Oh, there's lots of chatting going on. Anything important? What the heck, Alex? Okay, what is all of this comments in here? I don't understand these comments. Oh, I see. Now I understand. Skylar, what are you doing? Going crazy? Turn your mic on, Skylar. Please.
I
Skylar.
was trying to fix my keyboard because my buttons wouldn't work, and I was
that
pushing
happened?
them down. Yeah, and I didn't mean to send it.
Okay. All right. Well, that makes sense now. All right. So yesterday we did ending punctuation. We talked about declarative sentences that are informative or make a statement, interrogative ones, interrogating somebody, you ask questions, exclamatory, you get excited and put an exclamation part, okay, mark. So what we do is we make the change or the correction and we highlight it so that we can see it and it stands out. So today we're actually going to do days 2 and 3 on this because we are working with commas. Okay, commas have to have, like when you use punctuation, you have to have a reason to use the punctuation. Okay, so commas have lots of reasons to be used. So we're going to cover a few of them and then we're going to do an activity on one thing today. So we use commas for introductory phrases. You know, like your transition phrases in your paragraphs, you know how I always say, if you say, for example, comma, in the text it says, comma, okay, that would be an introductory phrase. If you are renaming or you have extra information, and I think on your document, I also put in parentheses this weird word called a positive. Is that on your document, a positive? Yes, no, maybe, I can't hear anybody.
No.
Well, I thought I changed that this morning. Okay, so if you could do that on your document, could you add the word a positive after renaming / extra information, put it in parentheses, and maybe let's highlight it. Add that to your document because that's what you're going to be working with on your worksheet today. And then also you use commas before direct quotations. Okay, everybody ready? Everybody type that in? Carl, are you typing with one hand? And holding your head up with your other hand? Amazing. Okay, so are we ready? Who would like to read sentence number 1 for me? Hello, I'm going to call on somebody. This is just like regular class, guys. How about Devin? Will you read sentence number 1 under day 2 for us, please? Right here.
Before you come home, could you stop and get some milk?
Thank you. Good job. All right. Now, yesterday I said whenever you're doing the DOL, I want you to check 2 things before you do anything else. Does anybody remember what the first thing I want you to check is?
Check for capitalization.
Check for capitalization. So do we have a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. What's the second thing I want you to check?
If there's any punctuation.
Yeah, if there's any punctuation at the end of the sentence, right? So does this sentence have any punctuation at the end?
No.
No, so we need to add it. So what kind of punctuation? How about Akeem? In the sentence, before you come home, could you stop and get some milk? What kind of punctuation do we need there? Akeem, are you there?
Period.
Are you sure? Before you come home, could you stop and get some milk?
Oh, exclamation mark. No.
Well,
Question
what's
mark?
left then?
Question mark.
Yeah, so everybody, let's do that. We're gonna highlight a question mark. So tell me, what kind of sentence is that? Declarative, interrogative, or exclamatory, Carl?
Interrogative.
There you go, interrogative. Very good. So those are the two basic things you have to check first. But today we're working on commas, okay? Does anybody know where the comma goes in before you come home? Could you stop and get some milk?
Before the and.
Before the end. Why would you
Before
put
the
that there?
end.
Why
like
would you
it-
put it, so you're saying after stop, you want to put a comma? That's what you're saying?
Yes.
Why would you put it there? Is that an introductory phrase? Is it extra information, or is somebody being quoted?
Isn't it extra information?
Okay, I don't think so, honey. Could you turn your mic off? Because we're getting some feedback. Okay, so extra information is like, today is Thursday, comma, February 4th, comma, and we are remote. So February 4th is extra information that doesn't change the meaning of the sentence. That's not what's going on in this sentence. Listen to the way I read it. Before you come home, could you stop and get some milk?
After come. Well,
After-
home.
Home, okay. So let's put a comma there. Okay, now normally when I do this, oh, I don't know how to do this on the computer. All right, so normally when I do this, I number like the reason. So is this comma here for an introductory phrase, or is it extra information, or is it quotation marks being used? Which one of those three reasons did we put that comma there for? Anybody?
Extra information.
No, I just told you that 10 minutes ago, not even. It's not extra information.
It's introductory.
It's an introductory phrase. So let's label that so that we remember. So let's just write, and we could abbreviate, intro phrase. Right? Before you come home. And I paused, right? That's not extra information. So let's just put intro phrase there. Everybody good? Okay, so let's look at question or sentence number 2. It says Valerie and Wesley, meanwhile, will go shopping for mom's birthday present. First thing I want you to check, Caden, is what? Guys, when I call on you, I kind of need you to be a little bit quicker on the answering. Caden, are you there?
Wait, yeah.
Okay, what's the first thing I want you to check in these sentences when we do them?
Check if there's a capital letter.
Okay, so do we have a capital letter at the beginning?
Yes.
Okay, and we have Wesley's capitalized because that's a name. Mom is capitalized because we're using it as a name. What's the second thing I want you to check? Caden, I'm still talking to you. What's
Yeah. Okay. Shoot, I forgot how to say it.
okay? All right.
The
Well,
punctuation.
the what?
The punctuation.
The punctuation at the end of the sentence. So do we need to add punctuation at the end of the sentence?
Yeah.
Okay, so what kind of punctuation do we need? Valerie and Wesley, meanwhile, will go shopping for mom's birthday present.
And period.
We need a period. So let's put a period there. So Caden, while I still have you here, is this a declarative, interrogative, or an exclamatory?
A declarative.
That's right. So I'm not even going to mark that right now, but that's it. So, but we're still working on commas. Okay, so Caden, thank you. You're off the hook. I'll call somebody else now. Does anybody know? I'm going to tell you that we are going to put, this sentence has extra information in it, an extra word or an extra phrase in it, that if you took those words or phrase, that word or phrase out, the sentence would still make sense. And that's known as an appositive. You don't need to know that, but you need to know where the commas go. So does anybody have any idea where the commas will go? Let me read it again. Valerie and Wesley, meanwhile, will go shopping for mom's birthday present.
I know.
Okay, go ahead, Haley.
After meanwhile.
Okay, we need a comma after meanwhile. We also need a comma somewhere else.
After
So-
Valerie and Weasley.
Well, it's not Weasley, but it's Wesley. But yes, after the word Wesley. Because look, if you read the sentence now without the word meanwhile, and it just read Valerie and Wesley will go shopping for mom's birthday present, does the sentence still make sense?
Yes.
Sure it does. Okay. So meanwhile is just extra information, right? It kind of goes along with the sentence above that, right? Before you come home, could you stop and get milk? Meanwhile, somebody else will do something else. So when you have extra information, sometimes the extra information comes in the middle of the sentence. If it does, you need a comma before it and a comma right after it. I could change this sentence around and say, meanwhile, comma, Valerie and Wesley will go shopping for mom's birthday present, right? And then I would just need the one comma after meanwhile. Does that make sense? Okay, so this is an appositive. This is why we're using that. Oh my gosh, I can't spell. I can't spell. All right, so that's the reason for using those two commas in that sentence. Everybody good with that? All right, let's move on to number 3. Number 3, Patricia asked, do we have enough time to grab a slice of pizza? So Akeem, what's the first thing I want you to check?
The ending.
Well, not the ending. What's the first thing I want you to check? That's the second thing I want you to check. What's the first thing? Help them out, somebody. What's the first thing I want you to check on these sentences?
The capital letter.
Capital letter at the beginning. So do we have one, Akeem?
Yes.
Okay, so now we're going to check for ending punctuation. Do we need to add the punctuation?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I'm asking Akeem, thank you. All right, so if we look at, now this one's a little tricky because there are quotation marks, okay? So Patricia asked, do we have enough time to grab a slice of pizza? Look at what Patricia is asking. Do we have enough time to grab a slice of pizza? Akeem, what kind of punctuation do we need to put at the end of that? Period, a question mark. Now everybody look, the question mark is going to go before the quotation mark. Okay. We're still working on commas. This one should be pretty easy, but does anybody know where the reason should be pretty easy, but does anybody know where the comma goes?
Bella does.
Okay, what is it, Bella?
Right after asked.
Very good. So we're gonna put our cursor there. We're gonna put a comma there. What's the reason, Bella?
Direct quotations.
That's right, direct quotation. So I'm gonna shorten that up and just put quote, right? And that's kind of easy because you have quotation marks there. So basically it's like when someone in the story is speaking, right? You always separate what they're actually saying that's in quotation marks with a comma. Patricia asked could come at the end of that sentence. And then instead of a question mark here, you would have a comma. That's a little different. All right, any questions on those three uses of commas? Okay, let's look at some more. We have several more. This time we're gonna use a comma to separate the date from the year, a city from a state, if you have two or more adjectives. Anybody in the world know what an adjective is?
Something to describe somebody or something.
Yes. So on your paper or on your document, add that adjectives are describing words. Okay. They describe nouns. So instead of saying a noun page, you said something or someone, and that's what a noun is. A noun is a person, place, thing, or idea. Okay. And then if you have a compound sentence or something called direct address, if I'm talking to someone. So if I say, Carl, comma, I'm so glad that you are awake. Right? I can see you, Carl. All right. So you would put a comma after using the person's name, right? Like a lot of times in class, if we were going to write out what you guys say to me, you'd like, how many times a day do I hear Mrs. Jost? Mrs. Jost, I don't know what to do. Mrs. Jost, comma. And then the rest of the sentence. You're directly addressing me. You're directly speaking to a person. Okay? So let's try some of these. So number one, the meeting will be held on April 3rd, 2006 in Des Moines, Iowa. So we're looking for a capital letter at the beginning. Do we have one? Anybody? Yes, Carl shaking his head. The next thing I'm going to check is ending punctuation. What kind of punctuation do we need at the end?
Period.
A period. So let's put that there. And now we're working on commas. Let's look at separate date from the year. Do we have a date in this sentence?
April 3rd.
April 3rd. So the comma is going to go after the 3. Are we done with commas yet? Because it also says I need a comma to separate a city from a state. Do we have any cities and states in this sentence?
Des Moines.
Des Moines. You leave the S's off. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. I think it's French. Okay, and there we go. So this one you have date, we can add that, date / city state. Okay. All right, number 2, present your arguments in a confident, firm manner. We have a capital letter. What kind of punctuation do we need at the end? Period. They said with a question mark. Okay. Now this one's a little tricky. So there are, who knows?
Me,
Who's me?
Haley.
Okay, Haley, where do you think a comma goes?
Where it says present, I think we get it next to like arguments.
No. But this one's tricky. So manner is being described by 2 words, confident and the word firm. So those are adjectives. Confident and firm describe the manner.
Yeah, I think I know now. After firm.
No, after confident. We're going to put comma there. Okay. So do you see that confident describes manner, firm describes manner? So this one is an adjective. It's a describing word. When you have 2 or more adjectives, you need to separate them with a comma. So the comma usage here is, and I'm just going to abbreviate ADJ for adjective. Okay. All right. Number 3, I thought we should try another route, and Mom agreed. Do we need a capital letter at the beginning?
Yes.
We sure do. So we're just going to highlight that just to make it easy peasy. All right. And then what do we need at the end?
A period.
A period. Thank you. And where do we need a comma? A little tricky stuff here. Where do we need a comma? I thought we should try another route, and Mom agreed.
After root.
After route. Why? Which one of those reasons?
Thompson.
That's right. All right. Next one. Don't watch TV, Tanya, before you finish your homework. Do we need a capital letter, Skylar, at the beginning of number 4?
Yes.
Okay, so let's just highlight that. Normally I'd have you change it, but I don't know. And then what kind of punctuation do we need at the end, Sky? Don't watch TV, Tanya, before you finish your homework.
Uh,
How about if I say it like this? Don't watch TV, Tanya, before you finish your homework.
period,
Well, you could put a period, but if I could also use an,
comma.
you wouldn't put a comma at the end of a sentence. Commas never go at the end of a sentence.
Exclamation point?
Exclamation point if somebody's upset with Tanya because you didn't do a darn homework. Grr, right? Okay, so let's call on somebody else. Paige, how about you? Where do you think a comma or two might go in this?
After the name Tanya?
Okay, anyplace else?
Or after TV? That's my.
You need both because it's in the middle of the sentence.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So you separate the direct address. So that, because it comes in the middle, you have to have both. I could, if it started out with the word Tanya, it would be Tanya, comma, don't watch TV before you finish your homework. Or if it comes at the end, it would be don't watch TV before you finish your homework, comma, Tanya, right? You could change the wording around. So this one is direct address. All right. Questions about that? I would keep this tab open, especially for this part where there's the appositive for the worksheet. This worksheet that you're going to do today is a little complicated for you guys, but I think you can do it. So let's look at it. Look at my screen first. Okay, so obviously you need to open it in Cami. All right. So this one's just going to work with the appositive, the extra information. Up, but I have the wrong thing up. Wrong thing, Miss Jost, go back. Let's try that again. Here we go. Now I got it. All right. And the directions are going to tell you to circle stuff. Rather than circle stuff, I would just highlight it. I think that'll be way easier, or underline it with your tool. Okay, so let's look at what it says. It says an appositive is a phrase that provides clarifying information about a noun. Use a pair of commas to separate it from the sentence. If the appositive phrase is removed from the sentence will still make sense. So here's an example. It says circle the appositive phrase in each sentence. Example, my backpack, the one that is red and blue, is by the door. Okay, so you could see a comma after backpack. You could see a comma after the word blue. If you took that phrase out in between, my backpack is by the door, does the sentence still make sense? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So when you do this, instead of circling it, you could just underline the phrase. Okay. Do you want to do one together just to make sure we know what we're doing? Hello?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so look at number 1. I invited Sheila, the new girl in our class, to come to the party. So what phrase am I going to look at? And your hint is look for the commas. So what phrase is the appositive, is the extra information?
The new girl in our
The
class.
new girl.
There we go, good. Okay, so the sentence would still make sense. I invited Sheila to come to the party, right? So you're going to do 2
Could
through
you
5.
also take I invited Sheila out and then leave the new girl?
Well, then you wouldn't know who you were talking about.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that's part 1. So you have to do 2 through 5. And then the second part, it says rewrite each of the sentences. Include an appositive to give more information about a noun in the sentence. So first you have to figure out who or what you're talking about. So this says Jessica took her kitten to the park. Okay. So I would say you could probably add information about Jessica. So I think it would probably be best to do a text box here. Right? And then type. So what do we want to say about Jessica? Jessica,
The blonde-haired girl.
there you
took her
go, the
kitten.
blonde-haired girl. Comma, took her kitten to the park. And please make sure you have punctuation and you're using commas and you add information to the sentence. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. Listen to me. Tomorrow, Friday, I am not having a Zoom meeting for first period because the Dragons have to do their iReady math, and anybody that hasn't done their iReady math needs to do this. So I don't recall, well, let me go back and look. I think I made this due on Monday, but let me look. Oh, nope, I made it due tomorrow. Okay, so do this today because you'll have today and tomorrow, most of you. Okay? Any questions about this? No? All right, so then I'm going to stop my video. Remember, no Zoom tomorrow because of iReady. Tomorrow I will start 8th period extra help Zoom. Okay, I can't do it today because I have to be somewhere else today. 8th period. Okay? So we can all end the meeting. So adios muchachos, unless you have a question.
Bye.
Bye.